Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thanks for being
Sir.
here. In Alabama, we're having huge problems with doctors' exhaustion, nurse exhaustion. Lines are long.
Yes.
You hearing that?
Yeah, well, interestingly, in our most recent surveys, veteran burnout is down on our employee engagement surveys. That's a good thing. That has to do a lot with the generous authorities you've given us for pay increases and some decisions that we're making about how we're treating veterans. So we feel much better this year than I did a year ago when I was talking to you.
So your recruiting nurses and doctors is improving, down, up, since COVID? You know, I understand the problems.
Up.
Up.
Not only is recruiting improving, but retention is at historic highs.
Yeah. I had a situation in Tuscaloosa, my VA over there.
Yes.
Gentleman basically had to have some special service done.
Yes.
Approved. A few days later, they called me, you can't do it. You can't do community care in town. You got to go 150 miles away. What rules and regulations do your doctors and administrators go by when it comes from VA care to community care? I mean, does it have to be approved by somebody? It have to go up the chain? Are they set by you, your staff?
Well, they're set by regulation and by the law.
Yeah.
And so it depends on what exactly this engagement was, and I'd obviously love to follow up directly with you and with that veteran on it. It has to do with, A, is it in the first instance primary care or is it specialty care? Then it has to do with where that veteran's home is and how far is that home from Tuscaloosa. Is, you know, in your state and in your vision, entirely 70% of veterans are eligible right now. In New Hampshire and in Alaska, it's 100% of veterans because there's no full service hospital. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, if you're 30 minutes from a facility for primary care, you qualify off the bat, irrespective of whether the private provider is 45 minutes from where you are or 60 minutes from where you are. So we just got to do a better job of making sure that the veteran has an informed choice.
Good. Let me ask you about this one. This is kind of old news here. You know, the VA came to a settlement with the union related to the termination of employment of approximately, 4,000 people who had been fired under the accountability authority enforced by President Trump,
right?
You know, through Congress. In some instances, they were terminated because of egregious, you know, criminal negligence.
Right.
But they've been brought back, correct?
Not entirely correct. The action that was taken that you referred to was subject to both administrative body review, so Merit System Protection Board, National Labor Relations Board, and subject to federal judicial ruling, leaving us really very little option to manage. So what I did is I engaged in a settlement arrangement with the union where I said those employees alleged to have carried out, as you said, egregious activity would not be welcomed back.
Good.
And so they are not welcomed back. So I could get you the exact numbers of the 4,000. It's, you know, we can get you an update. I think we're keeping your teams pretty well updated on those numbers over time. But those, again, by virtue of the fact that we're before administrative bodies and federal courts, that settlement includes a lot of things that, you know, we wouldn't necessarily choose to do of our own accord, to include back pay, things like that. But bringing these employees back who are charged with egregious misconduct was not something I would agree to.
You basically went case by case and looked at it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we fought that out.
Which is important to the veteran.
Correct.
We don't put anybody in harm's way. Still hadn't got the accounting of abortion in the VA. If you get that to me.
I did promise you that, but I've also ascertained that we've given those numbers, I think, relatively recently to the committee, and since generally that's the kind of information that we treat that we would require a chairman or ranking member letter on, we've also communicated to your team that that's available to the committee, and we'll get you those updated numbers.
Well, I appreciate it. The chairman doesn't like people from Alabama, so he didn't pass that down the line.
Did you refer to Tuscaloosa sometime in your questioning there? And what the hell, what kind of football team they have there? I was just wondering if you expected.
Used to be pretty good. We lost our coach.